Leading from the South is a special fund created to resource women's rights activism in the Global South, initiated by the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It supports activism devised, implemented and led by women's rights organizations in the Global South. South Asia Women's Fund will implement the fund in the Asia region. The grants given under this program are aimed at addressing three key overall objectives: addressing all forms of violence against women and girls, and advancing women's bodily integrity and autonomy, protecting and ensuring full economic rights and justice for women and girls, expanding democratic spaces, sustaining inclusive governance and equal participation of women. Within these objectives, priority will be given to interventions in the following areas: strengthening women's voice and leadership at the grassroots level. This may include, but is not limited to, mobilizing women on the ground, especially in rural or peri-urban areas, raising their awareness regarding their rights and entitlements, strengthening their ability to claim their rights, and building their capacity to advocate with key stakeholders and duty bearers. Expanding the right to safe mobility and secure livelihoods. Interventions in this area should focus on the right of women to move freely and safely to access economic justice without fear of stigma, violence and exploitation. Priority will be given to initiatives working on rights of women in the informal sector, which includes but is not limited to sex workers, domestic workers, women in the entertainment sector, garment factory workers and migrant women workers. Investing in young women's leadership. This includes but is not limited to initiatives promoting emerging feminist voices, strengthening the second line of feminist leadership within movements, and addressing issues around young women's sexuality, reproductive rights and physical integrity. Increasing access to justice. This includes but is not limited to initiatives such as strengthening capacities of women to engage with local judicial processes, legal awareness for communities of women, and provision of legal aid to assist women survivors and litigants. Extending environmental justice. This includes but is not limited to initiatives that promote the inclusion of women's experiences and leadership in addressing environmental degradation, accessing natural resources, climate change and adaptation, as well as rehabilitation policies and their implementation in the wake of natural disasters. Special attention will be given for outreach to women in marginalized communities facing multiple discriminations. This call for proposals is open to 18 countries in Asia: Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Cambodia, India, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Maldives, Mongolia, Myanmar, Nepal, Pakistan, Philippines, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Timor-Leste, Vietnam. Applicants may apply for grants under 3 categories depending on the size of the organization and the nature of the intervention. The proposal guidelines differ for each category, and applicants should ensure they are referring to the correct guideline for the category under which they are applying. Groups working at the community and subnational levels as the front line of defense against rights violations and/or as mobilizers of women's movements. National and sub-regional organizations and networks working on policy advocacy with key stakeholders and states, as well as campaigns on women's human rights. Cross-national, sub-regional and regional groups and networks undertaking capacity, knowledge and leadership building, and advocacy for state accountability. Only women's rights organizations, networks and women's funds can apply for a grant. 2 or more women's groups or networks can jointly apply as a consortium for any of the grant categories. There should be one lead organization to receive the grant, and this organization needs to adhere to the criteria in the guidelines. Applicants need to be registered in one of the specified countries. Organizations based and/or working outside of the specified countries are not eligible to apply. The applicant must have the requisite legal registration to receive grants from foreign sources. Political parties, faith-based organizations, educational institutions and individuals are not eligible for funding, either independently or as part of a consortium. please visit our website to download the full call for applications with all the details and guidelines, or email us at admin@sawf.info.